Story 1. Dedication, care, and respect are often taken for granted. Big mistake. Story 2. Accept that you and your partner have separate friends and hobbies. It is good to share friends and interests, but it is also important that each person maintains their individuality and pursues the activities and relationships they enjoy independently. I learned this from a breakup after nearly 10 years in a toxic, codependent relationship. A relationship should be part of your life, not your whole life. Your partner should be a major part of your support system, but not your entire support system. If the relationship ends, goes through a rough patch, or if your partner cannot be there in the same way they have been, you may feel lost and wonder who you are outside the relationship. Story 3. It means a lot when someone pays attention to the things you like and the brands you use. My coworker is dating someone who knows she likes pickles and keeps pickles at his house for her when she visits. One of my exes bought a pack of my preferred deodorant when he noticed I was running low. Small gestures like that really make a person feel seen. Story 4. Balance is important. Being entirely transactional is bad. When one person gives while the other takes, it is awful. Story 5. Getting to know each other before becoming physical can be a great way to build trust and establish a solid foundation. I am not saying everyone must do it. Story 6. When we first started dating, my boyfriend responded to my messages in a very consistent and predictable way. No games ever. It was such a breath of fresh air. He expressed interest in me and was not afraid to say cute things. He followed through on his commitments, such as, "I will call you at this time," and "I will come for the weekend on these dates," and so on. He was reliable. That reliability was a huge green flag, and I had never experienced it before. I was able to give myself permission to lean in and trust him. We are married now, and he is wonderful. Story 7. When they actively listen, not just wait for their turn to speak. Underrated but game-changing. Story 8. Married for almost 30 years. Respect each other's families. Be on the same page about your finances before marriage. Maintain a sense of humor and patience, and value loyalty, which is often overlooked. Choose a partner who will stand beside you and defend you in any circumstance. Story 9. Being able to talk about ordinary things every day without feeling bored or tired of the conversation is important. There is a big difference between saying your day was just fine and actually describing what you did and whether anything that day was funny, sad, or strange. Story 10. Accountability and a willingness to change for the better. Story 11. Behaving consistently and appropriately when your partner is not around, whether online or in person, matters. The choices you make and the conversations you have with others when your partner is not watching or nearby say a lot about your character. Story 12. If family and friends call them for advice and people who have known them for years trust their judgment, it is a good sign. Story 13. Being smart with finances is important. Looks fade and expensive bags go out of style. Those things are short-term. If someone focuses on the short-term, what will their long-term look like? If she has no unwise debt, understands why she avoids it, and wants to buy a big house with me, that is the biggest green flag. Story 14. Dependability. Do they actually do what they say they will? Story 15. When they actually listen to you instead of just waiting for their turn to talk, that kind of attention hits different. Story 16. Listening and actually responding to what you are saying instead of giving a canned answer. Story 17. This can take a while to see, but are they willing to change? When I say that, I don't mean a complete 180. I mean if they have harmful behavior patterns, are they willing to change and improve? Story 18. They are the ones in your corner when the chips are down. Story 19. They are genuinely excited about the good things that happen to you. They celebrate and support your growth. Story 20. Someone who is honest and does not just say things to impress you, even if it means disagreeing. A friend recently went on a date and the man wore a strange beanie. He asked her whether she liked the beanie. Instead of saying it was not her personal style but that it looked good on him, she said it was great. Now he has worn it on every date since. Story 21. They do not make you unhappy. My husband and I have been together for 14 years, and he does not make me sad or angry. The only times I have been worried or stressed have been for him rather than about him. Even just typing this now, I am getting a silly smile on my face thinking about him. Story 22. Remembering what someone likes and dislikes matters. I once told my fiancée that I only use a particular toothpaste because many others can cause an allergic reaction. A few days later, when I stayed at her house, she had bought that brand for me. Story 23. I have a boring or time-consuming hobby. Instead of going out to drink on Friday, I go climbing. Story 24. Being able to disagree respectfully is important. When you can argue and still both feel heard and valued, that is a huge green flag. Avoiding disagreement entirely is a red flag. Story 25. They go out of their way to take care of you or help you out of a bind. I am sure it is nice for women as well, but as a heterosexual man who is used to fixing everything himself, knowing someone has me covered is very comforting. Story 26. Praising people in their lives when those people are not present in the room. Story 27. They manage their own feelings without making it your problem. Real talk. Emotional dumping is a red flag disguised as vulnerability. A huge green flag is a partner who can say I am in a rough mood and need an hour to chill instead of making you walk on eggshells or solve their life crisis. Story 28. The possibility of being in the same room, not speaking, and still being perfectly happy together. Story 29. A sense of humor that goes both ways. Someone who can both take a joke and make one about you. This is a sign of respect and humility. Story 30. The biggest green flag people overlook? I would say trying to find someone different or interesting and disregarding people who seem boring. The friends I have had who hold out for variety often become toxic instead. It is exhausting to be with someone who always has drama. The best people I have known appear to have nothing going on because they are living their lives smoothly. They take care of their responsibilities, have quiet fun, and pursue personal goals without drawing attention to themselves. They reveal many good qualities when you get to know them. Story 31. Having a life outside the relationship is a green flag. Some people may take it personally when their partner prioritizes other aspects of their life, but I believe it is a green flag because it promotes a healthy attachment between you and your partner. It is not built on codependency and recognizes that a partner is part of your life, not your whole life. Story 32. Having a similar sex drive and desire sounds obvious, yet many relationships fail because partners' sexual needs do not align. Story 33. Being kind to and engaging reasonably with children, whether or not they want children, suggests several positive qualities in a person. 1. They can meet someone where they are. Disagreements are more likely to be productive and calm. 2. They show kindness when there is nothing to gain in return. They will treat others with respect without expecting anything in return. 3. They are not overly self-centered. They will support your interests, hobbies, and friendships appropriately, even when they do not share them. Story 34. How nice they are to servers and to people who cannot give them anything. Story 35. Being attentive matters. It is important when your partner remembers your favorite food or the things that make you happy and sad, because from that you will see how they will act. Story 36. Assume positive intent. If one of us is hurt, we assume it was not done intentionally. We realize that when strong feelings arise, we do not really see what is happening. We have built enough trust in each other to remember that we are on the same team, and neither of us would intentionally hurt the other. This makes it much easier to communicate when something goes wrong. We are able to approach the situation with curiosity rather than accusations, which leads to fewer conflicts. When conflicts do arise, we are able to brainstorm a solution together. Story 37. Being able to communicate without being argumentative or feeling like you are defending yourself during a conflict, and to level with someone and reach a resolution because you understand each other's point of view without judgment, is priceless. Story 38. I think the real signal someone cares about getting to know you more is time. If they are willing to spend time or take the subway or an Uber to meet you, they care and are at least temporarily interested. It's up to you to earn their continued interest. They are giving you a chance. Story 39. Stability and boredom. I know a lot of women who are or were bored, too many in my lifetime, as if their partner is the only one who has to do the entertaining. They end up breaking up or cheating and then asking where the good men are. The good man is the boring guy who wants to watch a movie or do whatever his partner asks. Men have their issues, an abundance of them. This is not woman bashing. In my experience, women almost exclusively believe their partner is there to entertain them. And when he is not, they often look for excitement or drama as an excuse. Not all women, only those who are likely to end up alone or settle for someone not so great later in life. I do not remember a male friend ever telling me he was bored, needed excitement, or had to find himself. Again, this is not female bashing. Men have a host of issues as well. Story 40. I think it's communication. People underrate how something so simple can help strengthen a relationship. Story 41. The most important thing is that they genuinely seek, encourage, and go out of their way to promote what is in your best interest. That's a gem. Story 42. Listening is an often overlooked skill. Most conflicts in relationships are miscommunications. Either someone is not clear about something, or someone is not listening. Too many people think listening means pretending to be attentive while thinking about what they will say next. The problem with that approach is that you cannot navigate conflict if you do not actually know what the other person is unhappy about. Sometimes understanding what is bothering them takes longer than 2 sentences. You can prevent a lot of conflict by showing that you have listened and that you genuinely understand what the other person is trying to say. Story 43. Their reactions to moderate or serious health issues are incredibly telling. Many people break up at the very mention of a partner's serious diagnosis. If they stay, how supportive are they? Will they go to your checkups and take notes on what the providers say? My wife and I have been through the following in the last 10 years. She had a full liver transplant due to benign tumors. She had complications from the transplant, including cytomegalovirus infection. She had an emergency early 29-week delivery because of placental abruption. She lost a lot of blood and almost died. She later had a kidney transplant. I have had several mental health emergencies over the years as well. She is stable now. Our lives are sometimes hectic, but it is how we step up for each other that matters. I know we can take on anything. Story 44. Honesty is something people usually take for granted, but it is the main foundation of a relationship. Story 45. The humility to apologize is a very good trait to have. Story 46. When someone has patience with you while you are healing and growing. Story 47. Saying hello, my name is Parsnip Flendercroft. Sadly, I am taken. Story 48. Respect your time to do your own things, and respect each other's moments of solitude. They are not attention black holes. Story 49. Comfort in companionable silence. The feeling of being safe does not mean boring. To me, it is equivalent to being at home, secure. I will live and die by that connection. Story 50. One big green flag people often miss is someone who knows how to apologize and change. It is easy to find people who apologize. It is rarer to find those who adjust their behavior after making a mistake. That reveals growth, humility, and respect. Story 51. Extremely respectful to waitstaff, holds doors for strangers, and picks up trash that does not belong to others. Story 52. Compassion, honesty, loyalty, respect, accountability, a goal-oriented approach, and the ability to have difficult conversations. Story 53. When a guy says he's broke, the girl doesn't care. Story 54. A lot of people mistake someone who is overly affectionate and caring for a delusional person because they cannot process being loved for who they are. We should not doubt others' love and affection because of our low self-esteem. Story 55. When he listens just to understand rather than to reply, that quiet kind of care is such a turn-on. Story 56. Respect. People often talk about it, but if you have unconscious bias against someone, you cannot truly respect them. Story 57. Knowing when to speak up, and even more important, when to be quiet. Story 58. This applies to all relationships, not just romantic ones. Noticing what someone loves and giving them things inspired by that. My father-in-law is a woodworker. I make crocheted stuffed animals, so he hand-carved the wooden pieces I had described so I could finish my vision. It was totally unexpected and the best gift I received that year. Being seen by someone is truly heartwarming. Story 59. Being able to laugh at oneself without taking it personally. Story 60. There is an old truism. If someone is not nice to waitstaff, they are not a nice person. My version is this: you can tell a lot about someone by how they respond to being told no thank you. It is easy to be kind to someone you like, find attractive, who is useful, flattering, or from whom you expect a reward. That reveals little about a person apart from how good they are at brown-nosing or how they behave when life is easy. If you want to know what kind of person someone is and whether they mean the nice things they say, see how they treat people who are not you, especially those society allows them to look down on. People who do not speak English well, people with disabilities, the poor, and others. One day, inevitably, that is going to be how they treat you. Life is long and complicated. There is no one you will always get along with or always agree with. Relationships sometimes require effort, humility, and growth. At some point in any friendship or marriage, you will be brought low by something and become inconvenient to love and care for. You will ask for more than you give. You will say, no thank you. Green flags are the people who do not leave the moment they stop getting what they want or hearing yes. Story 61. Ask questions about someone's childhood, upbringing, cultural background, and family. Story 62. How someone treats service staff or strangers when they think no one is watching says more than any lovey-dovey message. Kindness that is not performative is the quietest and most reliable green flag. Story 63. There is no need for a contract in every matter. People in relationships should understand one another, should not do anything harmful to their partner, and should not cover it up later by claiming there was no contract on the matter. Story 64. Being calm is hard to explain. Choosing to stay calm is perhaps a sign of emotional maturity. Story 65. Curiosity. How was your day? Do you want to talk about it? You want someone who makes space for you to be honest and be yourself. Story 66. My wife of over 25 years told me that one of the greenest flags she saw in me is that I am still friends with all of my exes. I mean, friends I am not in constant contact with. More like Facebook friends who occasionally comment on a post and speak fondly of me and our time together. Only one relationship ended badly. We made up a few years later and are fine now. None of them live closer than 1,100 miles, which I find funny. Story 67. Engage and participate in your partner's passions, interests, or hobbies. It makes things more fun and is rewarding. You may not understand their interests sometimes. For example, your partner might love Star Wars. Even so, if it makes them happy, you can watch Andor with them. Story 68. They make the hard conversations feel safe instead of scary. That is the thing nobody talks about enough. It is easy to love someone when things are fun. How they treat you when things get messy tells you who they really are. A partner who listens instead of defending, who asks instead of assuming, is the kind of peace that lasts longer than chemistry ever will. Story 69. Thoughtfulness. If your partner says something like, "Here, I got this for you. You mentioned you needed it last week," it means they think of you even when you are not around, which is a sign of many other green flags. Story 70. They generally put you above the relationship and are willing to work with you to improve it. Story 71. People mistake vulnerability for weakness, but it is actually a sign of confidence, security, honesty, and transparency. All of these are good foundations for a relationship. There is power and magnificence in vulnerability as well. Story 72. Wanting a balance of time together and space apart. Story 73. As a man, hold the door open for your partner and walk on the street side of the sidewalk. Story 74. I have seen many people overlook that someone does not have friends of the opposite sex. For me, this is a very positive sign. Story 75. The ability to understand your feelings and problems without judgment. Story 76. Being gentle. Gentle love, gentle teasing, gentle teaching, gentle talks, gentle acts. Being gentle with your partner is like a green forest. Story 77. Happiness. Someone who is generally happy with their life is a good person to be around. I think people overlook or even discount this altogether. Story 78. They buy you a book because they know you, think you will like it, and believe you will love it. Story 79. Be nice to people regardless of who they are. It is easy to tell if someone is genuinely kind, yet people are often blind to it. Historia 80. La forma en que se expresa sobre otras personas o sus exparejas cuando cuenta anécdotas. Story 81. Consistency is often taken for granted and can become boring. Story 82. We never insult each other's hobbies, and we offer constant genuine encouragement. I am an artist and my boyfriend of 12 years buys me paint, brushes, and supplies whenever he can. He is an artist as well, working in digital art and three-dimensional printing. I give him ideas for three-dimensional prints that I usually hang around the house. He prints items for me to paint. He is also an avid gamer and wants nothing more than for me to join him as his player too whenever possible. Story 83. One thing I have noticed is that people looking for long-term relationships focus on the wrong things. When you are dating for marriage, you should focus on values and personality. I have friends who have dated people who cannot see how compatible they are in personality and values because their biggest concern is whether my friend would share their hobbies. I will not lie. I appreciate a relationship where I can share hobbies with someone. However, as someone dating for marriage myself, compatibility in values and personality is more important than whether the man I am dating shares my hobbies or is willing to take up a hobby for my sake. I think it is fine to participate in a partner's hobbies to be close to them, but hobbies should never define a relationship. Sex and making yourself into the person your partner wants you to be are two things that should never define a relationship. Story 84. A former partner of mine would hold my hand every time we entered a room because he knew I had generalized anxiety and would do small things to make me feel safe, like smiling across the room. He framed it as love and pride, saying he did it so everyone would know I was his rather than mentioning the anxiety. My previous boyfriend ghosted me when my family came to visit, then returned the next day to tell me I was beautiful and broke up with me in the same sentence. This was my first heartbreak, and hearing that word triggered fear, so I asked him never to use it. I told him I felt used and dumped. He listened without my having to ask or remind him once, and he still managed to make me feel beautiful. Story 85. Your partner being proud of your achievements. When we first got together, my boyfriend told his family about the awards and promotions I had received at work. By the time I met his parents, they were so impressed with me, especially his mother. She had stopped working when she had him and his twin brother. She had been just settling into her career when that happened. One day he simply said, in passing, that he was proud of me. I burst into tears. I had not realized how much it meant to have my partner root for my success just because. It is a clear sign of love to admire parts of you that have nothing to do with what you can do for someone, but simply that you are succeeding and being recognized. Story 86. Recognizing and respecting that a partner is human and has bodily functions. I remember my first boyfriend being disgusted when I became physically ill. My spouse has held my hair back during morning sickness, helped me clean up, and asked how they could help me feel better. Story 87. Appreciate your partner and assume the best in them rather than the worst. Story 88. A commitment to protecting the relationship. An understanding that the relationship's health is important and requires work, and avoiding actions that put it at risk. Essentially, loyalty and preventing inappropriate or secretive interactions with others. Story 89. Respect for you as a person, not just as a partner. Story 90. People, especially those who have become used to experiencing extreme highs and lows, often overlook the beauty of being boring. Story 91. Not drinking or smoking is a clear green flag for me. I also appreciate that he has goals or plans for the future, maintains good relationships with family and friends, and dedicates himself to daily exercise. Story 92. They remember the little things you say and actually act on them. Attention to detail is more important than grand gestures. Story 93. You can learn a lot by watching whether someone returns their shopping cart. Bonus points if they pick up extras on the way. Story 94. When you're prepared to give it a go up the dirt track. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.